All right, so it's the start of a new day here in Italy. Unfortunately, we are still experiencing some of the most miserable weather, but you know, what are you gonna do? We are down just outside of Parma today in Italy, and we are visiting Federico Scerifo's shop. So it's gonna be about drifting this morning, and it's pretty crazy because, you know, Federico has always spent a bunch of time in Japan, and I've seen so many cars of his kind of make the voyage over to Italy. So you know, last time I saw this Impreza was actually at D1 in Odaiba, so it's gonna be pretty cool to kind of check it out in detail here at his shop. Unfortunately, he is not here. He's still in the US. He'll be coming back in a couple of weeks, so we unfortunately are gonna miss him. But we have Simona to talk to, who is Federico's staff mechanic, and she's gonna kind of talk us through the various cars in the shop, and we're gonna talk drifting and the upcoming Formula D season where Federico's gonna compete in. So we took the Stelvio Quadrifoglio down to Parma today from Milan. Enjoyable drive. This car is a beast. It's just, it performs so well on the highway. It was a pleasure to drive down here. Hopefully with these really nice kind of hills around here, we can maybe push it a little bit more later on. I think I've only engaged manual mode once, which is a pity because it sounds amazing, especially during shifts with those kind of farty shifts sounds coming from the exhaust. But yeah, more on that later. Let's head inside and check this place out. There's Larry. It's all about drifting. So yeah, like I was saying, this Impreza was actually Federico Scerifo's Team Orange GDB that he competed in D1 in, oh god, must have been 2002 or 3. Maybe we can find a sticker here. 2000, what was the first one? 2009? Oh, this is Simona, by the way.
Hi.
Hello. So the first time he competed in Japan was what, 2012? 12,
Federico.
okay.
And this one is a D1 champion from Kumakubo in 2006. And Federico Scerifo International Championship D1 in 2012.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the car made its way over to Italy after he was done using it in Japan, obviously.
I think
2015, 15, 16 maybe?
I think 14 or
14, okay. And what does he use this car for here in Italy? Does he use it for demos, or does
So this one he took it as a like oracle,
Yeah.
and he always Team Orange gave it to him for as a reward to his results,
Yeah.
and his loyalty towards the Team Orange,
Sure.
and so he always keep it like he does.
It's a prized possession
Yes,
from Japan.
Yes, exactly.
And this is really crazy because it still has the Koyama Racing Labo sticker there. So Koyama-san is the chief mechanic of June, or at least he was before he got really sick and had to kind of step away from that. And he was the guy that built some of June's most iconic cars, including the June Supra, the June Evo, the Lemons, you know, as they were called. And he built this very, very modified EJ20. I actually remember seeing this kind of matte satin black Hachiroku in one of Federico's videos where he was drifting up in a mountain somewhere.
Yes,
maybe?
close to here.
Close to here. Is this a 2J car or stock engine?
No, it's a stock engine, decompressed,
Okay,
and with the turbo.
right.
And
Yeah, there's the intercooler and the Pennzoil logo. Of course, Federico is Pennzoil's official driver in Formula D in the States. He's been partnering with Pennzoil for years now. So he has that easy to remember livery. Another two cars that I've seen in Japan before, and now they're in Italy. 233 GTSTs, and never seen this before. A wagon, that's pretty cool. But this is what, Federico's main Italian drift car, or?
we just did only the FIA Motorsport games in 2019.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we didn't have time to describe her potential because Fiorella in US took a lot of effort.
Sure. And it's
a built from Funatsu-san. 30 days.
From Fanats.
In here.
He came here?
He came here.
No way.
That's
crazy.
30 days, and he was
working
that side,
away in the workshop.
And Fiorella was this side.
Yeah.
And in 30 days, this one got ready.
So, do you know the specs of this engine?
3.1.
3.1.
So with the stroker kit.
Yeah. Big turbo there. And really short piping to the intercooler setup here. Hypertune mechanical throttle and inlet manifold. And of course, color matched. Okay.
So for everybody who wants this, it's free to take it out.
Oh, we'll take it.
For free, because
What do you mean he doesn't like it? What's wrong with an E36?
we don't go crazy for E36.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it, like a practice car or?
Yeah, it was a practice car. As you can see, we did 12 hours.
12 hours of drifting?
Not drifting.
12 ore bestiali. What is that?
You see 12 hours where we just go all around here in Varano.
Ah, in Varano.
And yeah, we didn't stop. I think
So it's up for grabs for anybody that wants to come and pick it up. Well,
just take it out.
There you go, guys. If you want an E36.
It's for sale, but if nobody wants it to buy it, go.
Oh man, I think you might have people coming over from tomorrow. And what's the deal with this
one
86?
is our customer car.
Oh, okay.
And it's built by us, of course, black and yellow.
Yeah. And I'm guessing it's going to get some kind of over fender kit
Yeah,
in the front.
yeah, exactly. He wants to put the E3 Rocket Bunny.
Yeah.
The same as that one.
Bunch of cool things hanging around here. Sparkle helmets, OZ wheels. I guess these are stock wheels that came off of Federico's. There you go. He kept them from Fiorella. OZ wheels. So I actually plan to visit OZ wheels in the coming weeks while I'm here in Italy. I've been meaning to visit the company for so long. They're so close to where my parents are based out of. So that's definitely something I want to do in the coming weeks. Some of Federico's old race suits, some over here too, including the Team Orange D1 Grand Prix one from back in the day. It also has the NTS emblem there, more OZ wheels. And you can actually see the rear end of this, where the radiator setup has been positioned. There's a little chill out area here. Of course, everything is color matched, yellow and black across the board. The Fiorella Formula D second place trophy. Federico's old English bulldog. Always such a cool looking dude. And there is one lift back here in the workshop space. All the tools. Okay, so we are going to go up into that mezzanine area where Fede has actually built an office area, chill out space, and you access through a nice stairwell here. I love the Italian striping on the wall. Viva Italia. A little slide door with a piston and a conrod. And the office area. So we got two little table setups here. Exercise machine, meeting room, simulator, of course, gotta have that. And this is Fede's office in there. And a nice little comfortable chill out space here with a kitchenette. And of course, the best part is that you can just turn around and look down into the main workshop area. Funny to see an ORC clutch here in Italy. Of course, I run a twin plate carbon clutch on my GTR from ORC. So really cool to see Federico also using Ogura here in Italy. Hey Larry, do you know where we're going now?
Dallara?
Yeah, but which part?
I don't know.
I'm not supposed to tell you, but it's pretty intense.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we're gonna go and check that out now. We're gonna head up to one part of Dallara. Okay, so we're actually going to the Dallara wind tunnel. Larry doesn't know yet. But it should be cool because it's a 50% scale wind tunnel, and they're always building, they're always building customer projects. So we don't know how much we can film yet, but hopefully it's enough to show you guys some cool stuff. This is really special. This is stuff you don't see every day. So building number 8, the wind tunnel. So right here in the entrance is a 50% scale model of the Dallara Stradale. So yeah, you can add the roof, targa, coupe, and we'll see this actual car later on. And that's what the aero development chart looks like.
So, you are in the third wind tunnel in Dallara's history. The first one, which was also the first wind tunnel with a moving belt in Italy, was just below Giampaolo Dallara's house, next door to where now we built the Dallara Stradale. Then we built a 40% wind tunnel, and then we built this one here, which we opened up in 2008, which is our existing wind tunnel with 50% model scale models. And here we develop all our racing cars, all the cars that we do, or aerodynamics that we do as a consultancy to our clients, and obviously the Dallara Stradale, which we will see built in the factory next door later on today.
This is so cool.
Here you can see a bit of history of what was aerodynamics in Dallara. The first wind tunnel was small, and the wind tunnel models, these are original models of mid-80s, late 80s, were made out of wood, handmade out of wood. Then here we started, and you can see a DTM Audi, we started doing wind tunnel models, bigger scale, a lot of carbon fiber, used also in the wind tunnel model build. And now instead, as you see the Stradale model, we use extensively 3D printing, which allows us to iterate more quickly,
It's all in carbon
do
fiber.
more evolutions of body shapes, more complex body shapes, which we design, build and test in a very short time span, and able to perform more results per unit time in wind tunnel.
That's wild.
So we do aerodynamics for third parties. So there are, every door is a model shop where we prepare the wind tunnel models for the clients. So every door has limited access, and you can't enter if you're not part of that project, and you might have 10 or so projects working together at the same time. And then through the central door you go to the wind tunnel itself, which is a test room where you fit the wind tunnel model, test it, change the parts, come down, put the next model inside.
And then you're not allowed to go in if the certain model is in
absolutely.
there. And you're not a part of that project.
If you're working on project A and project B is in the tunnel, you don't go to the tunnel. You only go to the model shop.
No industrial espionage.
No, well, obviously we try and don't have overlays of similar products, but that comes with the job, let's say. Upstairs, it's all offices, where we do the design of the parts that are produced here and then tested here.
Amazing.
So, you saw what we do, we can go and see how we build the parts.
Okay.
Great.
Okay? Model and the tires are solid. Modern wind tunnel models, we use pneumatic tires. There is active steering. The wind tunnel model moves inside the tunnel. They go through different motions, so you go and replicate all the pitching, rolling and yawing of the car. So you have a combination of movement of the car and of the steering, and a combination of how much we press the tires on the ground to change the contact patch. This is all integrated together with a series of sensors which measure forces and pressures, and through a run which lasts 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, you acquire data in all the various positions. So then you have a software that analyzes this and gives you the behavior of the car throughout the movement of the car on a lap. So, this is where we build most of the components of the wind tunnel model. The wetted components, let's say, are built here. And behind you can see a machine working. You create a three-dimensional component. You insert it in a volume, in a virtual volume. There is a grid that starts from a top surface Maybe the surface thickness of each layer is around 1/10 of a millimeter, depending on the type of material. A laser, which is the green light that you see, solidifies that section. The grid lowers itself. A pallet evens out the amount of material, and the process is repeated. So layer by layer, the grid lowers itself always more, and you have this part growing. Then the grid emerges, it drains all the excess liquid, and you have the three-dimensional component ready to be tested in the wind tunnel. We produce around 50,000 components a year, which is what you need to supply the wind tunnel with necessary parts to test every day.
Like 3D printing heaven here.
Yeah.
Where it is doing its pass across every surface, and then it gets
Because you're doing a 10 to the
flattened.
50%. Look, here you see, this is a radiator. No? The car is also a radiator. It's a radiator that replicates
These are all the parts that come out of these machines. Radiators, cores,
through the
wheels,
radiator. It doesn't
and the
pull
aero
everything down, obviously, but it
parts.
has the same,
If you ever wondered, it was Dallara that developed the GT1 version of the F50. Literally my favorite F50 creation ever. You worked on the Toyota GT1.
Yes.
Oh my
the
god.
aerodynamics of this car.
Oh my god. This is a legend.
That's fantastic.
That is insane.
Unfortunate in the results, because they always manage to find something in its way to win, not to win Le Mans.
Yeah.
But it's a car from 98 and 99, and it still looks modern.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing.
it's
And if you play Gran
exceptional.
Turismo, you would know exactly what we're talking about.
Ready?
Okay,
Nothing but-
the dungeon of the wind tunnel.
So, this is the control room of the wind tunnel, which is built lower than the ground level in such a way that when you are seated here and you're operating the wind tunnel, you see a belt, which is a tapirulon, which moves underneath the car, and you see if there is something on the belt, if a mechanic has forgotten a screwdriver, if the wheels are bouncing for whatever reason, and you can stop the wind tunnel before something happens. Otherwise, you access the wind tunnel through the big door on the back, and now you can see a strut in the center with a balance system. That is normally where the wind tunnel mod was attached to. Everything goes down, and then the wind tunnel essentially is a big donut, a fan on one side and the test section on the other side. The wind goes around in circles, wets the car in this controlled area where it's nice and straight and uniform. You measure the forces on the balance, so the forces vertical, horizontal, and lateral. You translate those into coefficients of drag, downforce, and lateral forces. And at the same time, you measure, you have pressure tappings all around the model, the radiators you saw before. And this allows us to understand better the phenomenon around it. The black thing that you see there is a probe that we use to take point measurements around the wind tunnel model, and this is done in order to correlate the work here with the virtual world, because this is the experimental part. Then there is the virtual part, which is the CFD, computational fluid dynamics, where you see all the streamlines going around the wind tunnel. And you need to correlate the two very closely and continuously, and in order to have reliable results. Today, when aerodynamic work is done in a combination of the two. You do first the CFD, then you collaborate the CFD with a wind tunnel, which, like I said, is a sophisticated balance, and then you iterate between the two. In Italy, you have Ferrari that has a bigger wind tunnel compared to this. There is this wind tunnel here. There was another one close to Sant'Agata, and one closer to Ferrara, but now those don't work anymore. And that's about it. Then Pininfarina has a different type of wind tunnel, more optimized for full-scale cars, less optimized for detailed development of this type. And then there are some wind tunnels in Europe. There are many more wind tunnels which are used by the Formula One teams, and a few universities have their own wind tunnels.
So this is the wind tunnel itself. Whoa.
Yes,
And the
just
moving
be careful
belt.
not to step over there.
Sure.
Like,
All right, so next up is the simulator, which is right next door. So we're gonna follow Andrea as he takes us next door.
see, you have the access from the model shop to the wind tunnel.
Oh, it's me. It's us.
Oh my god. What? What? Now that's a simulator.
I told you
Oh
would be in the
my
range
God.
today. It's $100 for a ride.
That's it?
So this is where F1 drivers practice?
No, so seriously, this is a professional driving simulator. So what does it do? Inside, you can see there is a chassis, a real chassis of a car. The alarm wasn't disconnected. And what happens is that you insert the actual chassis that you want to use. You have a multi-body, multi-physics model, which has to be done before, and it's the big job. That represents all the car, how the car is behaving, the tires, the engine, the electrical part, everything. And a driver goes inside. We have a 180-degree screen that replicates the track. We have scans of the track, which are laser scans of the track. On that, we overimpose all the images, which are very, very realistic, because they have to have the same reference points. No? When you arrive at the corner, you have a reference point for braking,
Sure.
the bumps, everything. So everything is super realistic. The volume that is available is the volume that the capsule needs to move, because this now is resting. Otherwise, it reaches up. And then it starts moving, because you replicate all the various positions.
That's crazy.
So this is the volume that you need for this moving
This whole
around.
room.
And then obviously you have the noise, the stereo, because you have to replicate the engine noise, you have to replicate everything. You have to replicate the position, so you have the actual tub. And here we use this to develop the car before the car is built.
Wow.
So saying
That's crazy.
you don't know, you see a wind tunnel result which gives average numbers which are better, but pitch sensitivity which is worse. So you get the results from the wind tunnel, you plug them into here, and you see whether the driver prefers less pitch sensitivity and less overall numbers, or more pitch sensitivity but more better overall numbers. And it depends, because if the car is too nervous, you won't drive it.
Sure.
And so it depends on the type of car. You want to look at different ride heights, different design setups, different weight distributions. You can do everything by changing numbers on the multi-physics, multi-body model, and then replicate it before actually having to design the car, build the car, go to the track, test the car, then change the center of gravity of a car. On finished car is impossible.
This is it's just so insane, because it's like a one-stop shop for everything.
Yes,
in terms of,
except the engine, which we
Yeah.
don't do engine development, for example, but the rest, yes.
yeah, but that's the part that just makes it go forward.
It's
You know,
quite important.
Yeah,
Without
of
that,
course,
it
yes.
doesn't actually move.
I understand that.
All
But
our work is useless.
without the chassis, it doesn't
And
matter.
Nice picture of it
from
here.
from
With
a
the
business
Formula One
point of
chassis
view,
inside.
normally the engine manufacturers are.
So we're now moving to the Dallara factory where the Dallara Stradale is built. So we get to see cool road cars now. It even says Dallara on the ground here.
What is the
It's a Dallara Headquarters. Oh my
These
god,
are
look.
old wind tunnel models, so the first wind tunnel.
The Italian
that
flag.
We put them back in shape, and we put them here for display. But the first, remember the red cars? This is
Yeah.
So these are made out of wood then?
yes, handmade out of wood, hand drawn and handmade. Now here, you need to switch off your stuff.
Okay, so we weren't able to film, but
We visit the
the
academy,
stuff we
and,
just saw has literally blown my mind. I am in awe of what Dallara actually makes, and the way that they research and develop like new technologies. Like the stuff we just saw, man, like I'm shocked.
It's just super cool because of how Italian it is. Like this is very like, I mean, this is like the top level stuff worldwide. Forget about it just being in Italy.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to see where these race cars are born from just raw materials.
It's incredible. And the research and development area for fibers and just composites, how they push the envelope. Things that we'll see in the future eventually will become the norm. These guys are already at it. It's wow. And I guess we see some of the cars that they created over history now. We go to the academy section of the compound and look at some really cool race cars.
I didn't expect this at all. I didn't.
Yeah.
This, fully not expected, but very appreciative.
Indeed. Okay, so we're inside the academy now, and this is where we're gonna get to see a lot more of the history of Dallara. And they even have a model of the insane simulator we took a look at before, which looks like something from outer space. And of course the Stradale, at least the model of it, we get to see and hopefully ride in one later on. They have a bunch of cool gadgets here that people can come and buy, bags, clothes, t-shirts, lots of merch.
So here we have the experiments on the vehicle dynamics.
Some cool,
Then
much simpler
experiments here
simulators.
with a small wind tunnel.
Il tecnigrafo.
Giampaolo Dallara's design
So this is Giampaolo Dallara's original desk where it all began. You can bend it. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes, pull it up, pull it up. And this, when this goes, you have a flat piece that you can move and see the resistance it makes. And then you have this one, which instead has a profile, and you see how much more efficient it is. You have a small car with different centers of balance, of weight of the car. So if it's lower, obviously you can lap around the turn easier. Here we have two models with different noses. One is metal, one is rubber, and so you see the absorption of energy, and you can understand that. And then you have 4 different types of components, and the stiffness, the springiness, and weight of the components. So you do a series of experiments. So this is the ramp, which has a little bit of a history of Dallara, of the Dallara products.
Yeah.
In time. We start off with one of the most recent products, which is the bicycle we did for Alessandro. I remember in the winter I told you about when we did the development of this bicycle in Dallara. We built the bicycle from a chassis point of view, and we developed the position with Alessandro in the wind tunnel. Today we build the Z bike, which is a bicycle for handicapped people, and it's a commercial bicycle for handicapped people.
That's
That's
insane.
water.
That's just the water?
That's the water bottle.
Amazing. Oh, this is so cool.
And this is some,
This is the
And the Miura
this is the actual one.
in white.
So
Whoa.
this is very much Dallara, but
So that's why this is
that was
here.
Dallara before Dallara.
That is
And
insane.
so this is owned by Engineer Dallara and completely refurbished by Lamborghini. So in their old car department,
Yeah.
historic car department. And it starts here because everything started here. Giampaolo Dallara started off his career through Lamborghini, Ferrari, De Tomaso, and he was the technical director of this car. A little bit of history of Dallara as a company. This is the first Dallara. So this is the first sports car, and you start to see the genius of Engineer Dallara. The rules said that you needed at least 2 seats. So you put a seat in the center for weight distribution, and 2 small seats on the side, so that at the end you are not offsetted with the weight on one side.
In Monte Carlo.
Gilles Villeneuve drove this car. This back in the late 70s, and he used to do the Trans Am Championship in the States.
With the Wolf team.
Yes, with Walter Wolf. Too.
Yeah, that's
And then
crazy.
we have The beginning really of the Dallara as a manufacturer of racing cars. The 3 was the backbone of Dallara. It's what allowed Dallara to grow. We first did Formula 3, we had first success in Formula 3, and then from there we grew, our shoulders were big enough to start doing other stuff like the SP333 for Ferrari, like the Indy World, where then we grew even more. So everything started off with the Formula 3, and this is the first Formula 3.
What year is this one?
This is 1980, yes, 1980. We started adding carbon fiber to the Formula 3, and this red car here is probably one of the most important cars in the Dallara history, because this is the Formula 3 of 93, I think, 93, and it's the Formula 3 that really allowed Dallara to grow, because we started winning in the UK, and the UK Championship, the British Formula 3, was the place to be. It was where all the drivers, all the important drivers that then went to become Formula 1 world champions, they used to race there. And that car is what really changed the balance, and we started winning consistently. And now it's a monomake series, Formula 3, which now races together with the Formula 1 and the Formula 2 are all Dallara.
So this is the latest F3 car from 2018, so you can see the progression of how it all started, and moving on to carbon fiber, the progression, and then the very latest ones here.
Here we have the history of Formula 1. So, 1998, 99, IndyCar, back then it was called Indy Racing League. This is the car that won the Indy 500 for the first time for Dallara. And behind you have the history of Formula 1 in Dallara. So, Formula 1 in Dallara, as a company, we started off in '88 with this car, with Scuderia Italia. And today we collaborate extensively with Haas in Formula 1. This also is where my racing career started.
Oh, you used to.
I was 13 years old, and my job was cleaning the rims and carrying the packets of cigarettes to the mechanics. That was my first job in motorsports.
What a job!
Because my father was the team manager of this car, and so I used to go to the races, and I used to be a pain in the ass to all the mechanics. And so my job was to get dirty with the rims and go and collect the cigarettes, as we were a Marlboro sponsored car.
That's insane.
And so that's when my racing started. I was 13 years old.
13 years old.
You were gonna be in the racing industry
no
matter
what. And you can see the evolution from 1988 to 2000, and I think this is a 2018, yes, 2018 car. The complexity of the aerodynamics.
It's incredible.
The dimension of the cars.
So is this a real
Yes.
chassis?
Yes, absolutely. This is a real car.
Just look.
No, this is the real chassis that we did for Haas in 2000.
You were talking about complexity.
Yes.
My God, look at.
And the rules change every year, and the complexity changes, but
Wow.
the
Look,
level
even the.
of detail of these cars is incredible.
But this one is retired.
Yes.
Look at the rear spoiler elements here.
There's another project where we are
Formula E,
the part of.
sponsored by Eno, the Italian energy company. 2018 car.
Are all Dallara as a chassis, then the powertrains and everything are done by others.
Yeah.
And then the other world that we are very strong at is Le Mans. So back there you have a Le Mans car, 2000, 2001. And with this car we won the first time our Daytona 24 hours.
And then all the way to the very last here, Cadillac. These cars are impressive to see up close. Look at the opening on the rear here, on the fender. Massive center fin here. Oh, Kamui Kobayashi and Fernando Alonso. And over to some GT cars, NASCAR, and then we finish at the Dallara Stradale. Crazy, the Renault RS01, powered by a VR38 GTR engine, built by Nismo, as you can see there. All right, I hope you enjoyed the Dallara factory tour. There was so much that we learned on the day. I'm blown away by the things that this company gets up to and how it pushes the envelope. of research, design, engineering, and composites. It was really amazing to learn. We came away with so much footage. I actually decided to split the factory tour from the actual Dallara Stradale test drive. So that will be another episode. Make sure you come back for that, because I had a lot of fun finding out what a Dallara Stradale feels like.